All right, hello there. Welcome back to another weird video. Today's video getting back into NFL related discussions. And in this one, as you can see on the title of the video, we're going to be looking at some NFL power rankings, or particularly NFL.com's power rankings. Reason why is because football is upon us. You know, it's August. That means it's right around the corner. There was a lot of expectations for certain teams, and other teams, not a whole lot of expectations. But if I remember correctly, which I do, in this specific scenario that is, NFL.com has some times where they post some shitty power rankings, and I'm just going to go over it and see if I agree or disagree. You know, it's just an opinion, and maybe you guys will look at it and be like in disgust with certain things like, oh, how could this be that? Or how could this be this? All I'm going to do is give my 2 cents. And again, NFL.com, in my opinion, is pretty notorious for dropping some shit power rankings. So let's just go. Let's just see what happens. And it's not that it has to be perfect. It's just that there's always that one god awful take. But we'll see. Kansas City Chiefs, number 1. No one's surprised at all. They're the Chiefs. You know, Patrick Mahomes. You know, Andy Reid, Travis Kelce. They are just who they are, and that is elite all the time. So nothing to say there. Philadelphia Eagles, coming off of a Super Bowl run. Obviously, Jalen Hurts is the focus, right? He is the franchise moving forward, especially what he did last season. He showed so much promise. He's done so well in the pocket and so well out of the pocket. It's just been pretty incredible to watch because a lot of people were shitting on this guy and I didn't think he'd be that good. I'm not going to say I thought he'd be great, but I never thought he'd suck. Miles Sanders gone, but DeAndre Swift is back. Now, Miles Sanders seems to be the more reliable option. Funny enough, because he's always... It's funny because prior to last season, he was always known as the guy that was dealing with injuries. And in comes the guy who is known as always being hurt, which is DeAndre Swift. So we'll see how that goes. But DeAndre Swift definitely has more potential, a lot more promise when the ball's in his hands. He seems to be much more of a dynamic playmaker. And the Philadelphia Eagles, defensively, we know who they are. We know what they can do. So, number 2, not a bad take. Number 3 being the San Francisco 49ers. I obviously can't dispute that, and I'd have to look at the other teams, and I'm not saying this is too high at all. I'm not saying that. I just feel like when we expect the most out of them, it doesn't necessarily come to fruition because of their bad luck with injuries, and who knows what happens. Like last season, we didn't expect how good they could be, and they were freaking amazing. So I don't know. I just have a hard time of like managing my expectations with the 49ers because, again, Kyle Shanahan is a genius playmaker, and when they have expectations, as they should, I feel like it just doesn't necessarily go as planned. It's when they're the underdogs or even remotely seen as not the non-favorites where they shine bright the most. But Brock Purdy, if he comes back and he looks as good as he did last season, the Niners will be great. So number 3, solid take. Number 4, Cincinnati Bengals. As long as Joe Burrow's fine, as long as he's healthy, he doesn't need to be back within the first 4 weeks, right? I mean, that hurts, obviously, the team and their record, but the Bengals are who they are, and that is dangerous to any single team in the league just because of their offensive prowess, similar to the Chiefs. Jamar Chase, absolutely elite. Joe Burrow, absolutely elite. The one thing I'm questioning is, in honesty, their defense. There are times where they show some great plays. There are times where they show some not so great plays and a lot of like boneheaded ones. So I don't know. We'll see it. Jesse Bates is obviously gone. As you can see, Von Bell, Trey Flowers, and Eli Apple are gone. Eli Apple is not so much of a big deal, but we'll see what they do. And number 4, not a bad take at all. Buffalo Bills being 5. Fair enough. You know, I feel like I'm taking too much time talking about every single team, and there's 32 teams. Should probably speed it up. Bills are good. They're always going to be good. Question is, what they do in the playoffs? That's the question. Cowboys being 6? That's pretty fucking high. I'm a Cowboy fan, and this is high. This is really high. I mean, trust me. There's nobody here more who would love to see us achieve greatness or, you know, even just elite status, because fuck, dude, we're so inconsistent. But number 6, I'm a Cowboy fan, and I feel like that's a little optimistic. We'll see. I mean, I hope so. I really do hope so. But I don't know if we can. I don't know if we have what it takes with Mike McCarthy leading the way. I don't know if Dak's the answer to all our problems. He's good, just not great. And it seems like when something can go wrong, it will go wrong with the Cowboys. Ravens being 7, no surprise. Lamar Jackson, he's staying. And they added Odell. J.K. Dobbins hasn't been practicing, I guess, but he's still there. Zay Flowers, and I'm pretty sure they drafted another rookie receiver. Or was that last season? That was probably last season where they drafted 2 rookie receivers. But anyway, the Jets being 8, no surprise here, adding Aaron Rodgers. Garrett Wilson's probably going to take a huge step forward. Honestly, 8 picks into the power rankings, not bad at all. I think the Cowboys are a little too high, and I'm a Cowboy fan telling you that. But so far, NFL.com. All right, I'll give you credit to where credit is due. 8 is not bad. I mean, through 8, we're not doing bad at all. Miami Dolphins at 9. Adding Jalen Ramsey, even though he's going to be hurt for probably the first half of the season and be out, they still have Tua leading the way. He's able to get it done as a quarterback. Why? Because he's got options. He's got Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. So I really like what we're seeing there. But number 9 is solid for the Dolphins. 10 for the Jaguars is solid. Honestly, solid. Ignore the first part. Calvin Ridley being back, I think, is huge. And I saw some videos of him and training camp, and he looks freaking fast. Calvin Ridley looks like he hasn't lost a damn step. In fact, he looks like he's even better than he was before. Granted, those are just training camp videos. I understand that. But god damn, it's been a year, and you'd think that there'd be some rust. But, I mean, as far as I can tell in video, no, that is not correct. But Trevor Lawrence, obviously in the way. This team was an underdog last season. Doug Peterson brought them through, came back against the Chargers in a massive deficit, and proved that they're here to compete. Travis Etienne, another electrifying player that they have. I'm excited to see what the Jaguars do. And honestly, 10 picks through the power rankings, still solid. Lions at 11. Yeah, honestly, I can't really dispute that. There's a lot more expectations on the Lions this year. Jared Goff, though, well, that's the question. Is he enough to take you deep? I mean, he had an incredible, for his expectations at least, last season. He had an incredible season last season based off where his expectations were. So I really do feel like the Lions, for the first time in a very, very, very long time, people genuinely expect the most out of them. Curious to see how it'll go. I really am. 12 being the Chargers. I feel like the Chargers never cease to amaze me on how bad they can choke. And hopefully this season that changes. But there's always some level of choking when it comes to the Chargers. Pause. Or not really. Browns being 13 this one might be a tad bit too high. Reason being is because we don't know if Deshaun Watson's going to go back to his former self with the Texans. Whole lot of question marks really surrounding if the season, if last season was just a lot of rust throughout all those games, or if it's kind of just the new him, post major scandal, major issues, major drama. And the drama's not going anywhere. He's going to get shit on for the rest of his career. So we'll see if he bounces back from that. I'm not sure how this offense is going to hold out. Lost Kareem Hunt. Still have Nick Chubb, though. So pretty sure they also still have Amari Cooper. I'm 99% sure they still have Amari Cooper. Anyway, going to the Seattle Seahawks, 14. 14 might be a bit too high. I don't know if Geno Smith can replicate the last season. Maybe he can. Maybe he'll even be better. Not bad, though. You could argue 14. Saints being 15. Derek Carr is quite literally the X factor. We know how good Chris Olave is. Michael Thomas' health is an important factor for sure, but if he's healthy, we know how good he is. Adding Jamal Williams with Alvin Kamara. pretty deadly, even though Kamara suspended to what for first 3 games, as shown here. So yeah, I'm curious as to how the Saints are going to be. 15 is conservative. Vikings at 16. That might be a bit too low. I understand that Dalvin Cook's gone and Adam Thielen's gone, and they're basically saying, Alexander Mattison, you're the running back this season. But Justin Jefferson, I feel like, is only getting better. Maybe he's peaked. Maybe he can only replicate what he's done in his first 2 seasons. Maybe Kirk Cousins is regressing. Ultimately, though, I would say that 16 might be a tad bit too low for the Vikings. Just might be. When you have a receiver as good as Justin and a quarterback who's able and willing and more than willing, forcefully at times, to get it to him, this team is a threat. Granted, one player does not make up a football team. I completely understand that. But they've had success in the past couple seasons, at least in terms of being a decent football team. So 16 might be a tad bit too low. Falcons, I feel like this is just too high. But the Falcons, I don't see how they drastically improve. You know, Marcus Mariota is not coming around this season, but you got Bijan Robinson. Okay, that's cool and all, but he's a rookie running back who quite literally is a rookie running back. You can't just expect him to come in here and suddenly change the offense. I mean, granted, if there's any rookies who do change the game in any season, it's running backs in all sports. Running backs are always seemingly ready to go, but still a young quarterback. I don't know, man. I think this is too high for the Falcons. I really do. Like, what exactly do they got going for themselves? Who's that receiver for the Falcons? That's the biggest question. Falcons depth chart. I genuinely couldn't even tell you like their biggest threats. I know Cordell Patterson's still there again, but John Robinson. Oh, Drake London. I'm so stupid. How did I forget about him? Okay, but aside from that, Matt Collins, Scott Miller. Yeah. And that's because Kyle Pitts, you know, you hope he takes the next big leap into becoming a really great tight end, because that's what they drafted him to be. But we'll see. I think 17 might be a bit too high. 18 for the Giants. I'm not going to say it's too low. I'm not going to say this team's going to be great, but they showed last season they were well coached. I feel like they got the most out of their players. Man, I am stuttering all over the place. They seem to have a receiver position on lockdown with talent. Adding Darren Waller is also a big deal. The question is, does Saquon play or not? Yes, actually, he did sign that contract. $11 million. So that's not even a question. Okay, so, I mean, the offense has talent, the defense. I don't know. I think 18 might be a bit too low for the Giants, although you never really know, because Daniel Jones, to me, is not... He's not a good quarterback. To me, he's average at the most. Pittsburgh Steelers, way too fucking low. If there's anything I learned about the Steelers, anything at all, is that somehow, some way, they always fucking compete. I don't get it. Mike Tomlin's a madman, and he always makes the most out of anything. They added Allen Robinson, who's seemingly washed. I somehow, some way, he's gonna look fucking more than good this season. And I'm not saying elite, right? I'm not saying he's gonna be out here dropping 1,000 yards. I'm just saying somehow, some way, they're going to bring the most out of him, because Steelers, they draft elite receivers, and I'm not saying that they sign them and receivers perform well. But when you have George Pickens there, who is already an absolute savage, traded away Chase Claypool because you knew what you had in George Pickens, and you know what you have in the receiver room because of you guys are drafting constant fucking elite receivers. It's just, it only helps Kenny Pickett with his progression. Somehow, some way, Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be good. I don't know how. And when I say good, I don't necessarily mean like, oh, they're playoff bound, but they're going to be always in the wild card race all fucking ways, because they are who they are. And that is a well-coached football team and a well-run organization. Patriots being 20, can't say I'm surprised. I'm not a believer in Mac Jones. Juju Smith he was with the Chiefs. I don't know. Like, you can expect the Patriots to make the most out of that. Devontae Parker, not crazy. Mike Gesicki, not crazy. Ramondre Stevenson's good. Just not big on the Patriots. The Broncos, I genuinely believe, from the bottom of my heart, even if I took out emotion, with all my brain cells put in one concentrated area, that doesn't make sense. But anyway, the Broncos I think are higher than 21. I don't think that they will be as bad as last year. I flinched there really hard. Call it a reaction to touching my brain like that. It like buzzed my head. But anyway, the Broncos, I believe, will turn it around this season with Sean Payton there. I mean, I know people wanted to shit on Sean Payton for commenting on Nathaniel Hackett. Rightly so. You don't do that, dude. That's a fellow coach, even though he's on another team. Like, you got to have some respect for other coaches. But, dude, he wasn't wrong. Nathaniel Hackett did awful as a head coach, made way too many boneheaded decisions. Russell Wilson, I don't think is washed. I still think he has more in him. It's one bad season. This team has a lot of offensive talent. Javonte Williams coming back, that being huge. Courtland Sutton still being there. I know Tim Patrick's out for the season, but there's a lot going for this team. Going on to the Green Bay Packers, 22. That's just... I think it's too high. My reason being is Jordan Love. If they couldn't get it done with Aaron Rodgers last season, I don't think Jordan Love's the answer. In games that he replaced Aaron Rodgers, didn't look elite. Granted, I could be wrong, and maybe he surprises. And if he does surprise, this team will definitely be higher than 22. I just don't see it happening. I would say lower. Titans, man. Titans always fucking compete somehow. Adding DeAndre Hopkins never hurts an elite receiver. Somehow, some way, the Titans are probably going to perform at some points better than this in the season. Calling it now. That's too low. Commanders. Yeah, I hate their quarterback situation. Terry McLaurin's a stud. I always bring up the elite players because it always starts with the top. Who do you have at the front center? Terry McLaurin being the front and center. I can't stress enough. I'm not a fan of Sam Howell bringing up Jacoby Brissett to back him up. Eric Bieniemy taking over is going to be interesting. It'll add some experience with winning, right? Eric Bieniemy's a winner. He's won Super Bowl championships. He's quite literally was the offensive coordinator for an elite offense. Obviously, having Patrick Mahomes and a ton of weapons, but somebody still had to help call the plays with Andy Reid, and that was Eric Bieniemy. We'll see what he does with this team. This is going to be a real test. Don't know how they make it work, but good luck, Chief. But yeah, I would say 24 seems about right. Yeah, no, it would seem right. 25 for the Bears. Feels a bit low knowing how Justin Fields looked last season, how good he looked as the games went on. The biggest question is his health, and can you force him to take less of a beating? Can the offensive line protect him? Can Chase Claypool get it together? You already added DJ Moore being as good as he was, even on a shitty offense as the Panthers last season. Can't stress this enough. I think that the Bears are a little undervalued here, because somehow, some way, they always defensively look solid. It's just been the offense for the past forever. Seriously, like, it's been a long time since they've had a good offense. Carolina Panthers. I would say this seems about right, considering that Bryce Young is a rookie QB going into an organization that, while they do have some solid pieces, not completely full yet on the offensive end, don't really have a good receiver room, to be honest. It's going to be another development year, in my opinion. Their defense could prove to be something, but that's about that. The Colts are screwed. They're going to suck balls, and let me tell you why. Anthony Richardson is a project. He's not someone you just throw in the fold. Gardner Minshew is not ready to be, or Gardner Minshew was not good enough to be a starting quarterback on a good team. On this team, sure. Jonathan Taylor drama doesn't help. Not a whole lot of good things going on for the Colts, and it's concerning. It's concerning, but it always starts with the quarterback, and Anthony Richardson is a project. He needs time Don't expect anything right away. Rams being 28 is too fucking low. I understand that they don't have the most when it comes to health. They still have Cooper Kupp, even if he's dealing with injuries, assuming he's back safe and healthy. Still have Cooper Kupp, still have Matthew Stafford, and it's Sean McVay. You have Sean McVay. So, can't stress that enough. I genuinely think this is way too low for the Rams. I think this is the one take, in my opinion, that is just stupid. Like 28 for the Rams, saying they're the fucking fifth worst team. Yeah, fifth worst team. I had to count that in my head. Because even going back to some of the bad takes, the Rams being the worst, I think the Bears are too low. Titans are too low, and Broncos are too low, and Steelers is not too low, but again, I just think they're somehow always going to be good. I can't explain it. It's just Mike Tomlin, bro. He just makes it happen. 28 is too low for the Rams, though. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Yeah, the Raiders suck. No, Jimmy Garoppolo is not the answer. No, it's one thing to make Jimmy Garoppolo work enough on a Kyle Shanahan offense. No. Bucks, yeah, not good stuff. You know, the rest of this is. I think that the Bucks will have like 5 or 6 wins this season. Yeah, that's how that's gonna go, in my opinion. Houston Texans, fair enough. 31. Cardinals being the worst team. That could happen. If I remember correctly, they don't really have a great defense. And their offense, well, is put on hold while Kyler Murray is out. So, yeah. I don't know if they'll be the worst team, though. Granted, I couldn't tell you who would be the worst team. I think the Colts are going to be in contention, and the Texans for sure. But, all in all, this isn't horrible. Honestly, I was expecting way worse from NFL Power Rankings. They always seem to, whoever puts out these articles always seems to shit the bed. I mean, there are some bad ones, again, like the Rams. I do think the Rams are going to be better than 28. I do think the Bears are going to be better than 25. Like, there are things I definitely disagree with. But not bad. Like, you can look at this and actually be like, okay, this is respectable. Like, I could see how someone thinks this kind of stuff. But anyway, that's my review on the NFL Power Rankings. Just my 2 cents. I'm not giving an exact ranking because, in all honesty, I'm not here to tell you what team's going to fall in what exact position. I'm just here to tell you what I think on if it's higher or lower. Because for me, that's fun and simple and not too complex. Because we're just getting started. We're going to get complex later on in the season and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. But also, it's fun to look at other people's rankings because it creates more discussion. It's not so much self-centered to me and what I think. It's more so of like, oh, I'm taking your opinion and then I'm putting in my 2 cents. Make sense? Hopefully. Anyway, I appreciate you guys for watching. As always, this is Solly Been Different. We've been different. And we out.